Two trains leave the station at the same time, one heading east and the other heading west. The eastbound train travels at 95 miles per hour. The westbound train travels at 105 miles per hour. How long will it take for the two trains to be 320 miles apart? Do not do any rounding. Alright, so to solve this problem, I'm going to be setting up a chart based on the formula rate times time equals distance, which is a very popular formula in algebra. And this is going to help us solve this problem. But before I jump to the chart, let's just draw a little diagram. Nothing fancy or anything, but just to help us visualize what's going on. So we have two trains leave the station. So I'm just going to draw a little dot. Let's pick a color. Let's make a little bit. Alright, I'm just going to draw a little dot right here to represent the two trains leaving the station. We know that one is heading east and the other is heading west. So we're going to draw an arrow going to the right to represent the eastbound train. And we know that an arrow is going, another train is going west, sorry. So we're going to draw an arrow going to the left. So we have an arrow going to the right and an arrow going to the left to represent our eastbound train and our westbound train. And we know that jumping a little bit to the end of the problem, we know that the trains end up 320 miles apart. So let's just draw a little, I'm not sure how to say it, like a little line segments on the end and call this 320. And the reason this is 320 is because we know that the eastbound train and the westbound train, when they travel a certain distance, they're going to be 320 miles apart. Now let's set up a chart based on the formula I was talking about before. Rate times time equals distance. So we're just going to set up a chart. Rate times time equals distance. And it's going to look like this. So we're going to have three columns, and that's for each part, rate, and then time, and then distance. So we're going to call this first column rate. We're going to call the second column time, and the third column is the distance. Now we have, on the side, we're going to put our two trains. And I should have actually labeled it in this diagram, sorry. My fault. It was I should have labeled, doesn't matter which one, but D1, let's call the distance the first train traveled, and then D2, the distance the second train traveled. So let's call, on the side we have train 1, and then we have train 2. We know that train 1, or the eastbound train, I should say, travels at 95 miles per hour. So that's going to be D1 over here. So we know that's going to be 95 miles per hour. We know that the westbound train travels at 105 miles per hour. So the rate for the westbound train, or D2, is going to be 105 miles per hour. The time, we do not know the time because it says how long will it take for the two trains to be 320 miles per hour. However, we know they travel the same amount of time, so we can call the two times x. Now multiplying our rate times our time, we have 95 times x to get 95x, and 105 times x to get 105x. Now let's set up a little chart, a little box down here to represent the total 320. That's the distance they are apart after some number of hours. So it should make sense that our distance, our eastbound train plus the distance our westbound train traveled should equal 320. So we can write this as 95 plus 105x, and I'm just going to simplify because I don't have a lot of room. So 95x plus 105x, please write out this step. So that's going to give us 200x. Just for the space of, just to save a little bit of room, I'm just going to combine them in one step, and we have 320. Now just divide both sides by 200, and we have x. I'm just going to use a calculator. 320 divided by 200. Yep, looking at the other answers too, I can tell that it was 1.6 from the other people that answered this people who answered this question before me. So we have x equals 1.6. Well, what does 1.6 represent? or it represents our time for our train 1 and train 2. So we know how long will it take for the two trains to be 320 miles per hour? 320 miles per hour. We know it will take 1.6 hours for our trains to be 320 miles apart, and that is your final answer.